Noah walked into my room late at night. And everything changed. I should have told him to leave the moment he stepped into my room that night. Instead, I looked into his eyes. And everything I thought I knew about us changed forever. The knock came at exactly 1:17 a.m. 3 soft taps. Just enough to pull me from the edge of sleep. At least that's what I kept telling myself. Because admitting the truth would have complicated everything. The truth was that Noah had become the person I thought about more than anyone else. The person whose texts I reread. The person whose smile lingered in my mind long after he'd left. And the person I had spent months convincing myself I could never have. I opened the door. The moment I saw him, I knew something was wrong. His normally confident expression was gone. His dark hair was messy. His jaw was tense. And his eyes looked like he was carrying the weight of the world. Noah. He swallowed. Can I come in? 1,000 thoughts raced through my mind. I should have said no. I should have asked what happened first. Instead, I stepped aside. And that single decision changed everything. Noah walked inside. The door clicked shut behind him. For a moment, neither of us spoke. The silence felt different than usual. Heavier. Charged. As if something important was waiting to happen. Something neither of us could stop anymore. Finally, he looked at me. I didn't know where else to go. My chest tightened. Because Noah wasn't the type of person who asked for help. He was the one everyone else depended on. Seeing him vulnerable felt strangely intimate. Dangerously intimate. I folded my arms. What happened? He stared at the floor. Then he laughed once. A humorless laugh. You ever realize your whole life has been heading in the wrong direction? I blinked. What? He shook his head. Forget it. No. His eyes met mine. And for the first time I saw genuine fear there. I think I just lost everything. The words hit harder than I expected. Without thinking, I stepped closer. Close enough to notice the exhaustion in his face. Close enough to smell the faint scent of rain on his jacket. Close enough to realize my pulse had become impossible to ignore. Noah, I said softly. You haven't lost everything. His gaze lingered on me. Longer than it should have. Long enough to make the room suddenly feel smaller. Neither of us moved. Neither of us looked away. And in that moment I realized something terrifying. The line between friendship and something more had already disappeared. Neither of us had been brave enough to admit it. Until now. Until this night. Until Noah walked into my room and changed everything. The room felt smaller with every passing second. Noah's eyes never left mine. Neither did mine. I should have looked away. I should have said something. Instead, I stood there frozen, painfully aware of how close he was. The silence between us wasn't uncomfortable. It was dangerous. The kind of silence that said everything neither person had been brave enough to say out loud. Noah. I whispered. His jaw tightened. Do you know how hard this has been for me? My heartbeat stumbled. What has? A faint smile appeared on his face. The kind of smile that carried equal parts sadness and relief. Pretending. I swallowed. Pretending what? His eyes softened. Pretending that when you walk into a room, I don't notice. My breath caught. Pretending I don't wait for your texts. The air disappeared from my lungs. Pretending you're just another friend. My chest tightened. For months I had convinced myself I was alone in what I felt. Months of stolen glances. Months of wondering. Months of imagining. And now he was standing here, saying every word I'd secretly wanted to hear. The room was silent. But somehow it felt louder than ever. Noah. He took a step closer. Not enough to touch me. Just enough to make my pulse race. You don't have to say anything. His voice was barely above a whisper. But I needed you to know. I stared at him. At the nervousness hidden behind his confidence. At the vulnerability he rarely showed anyone. And suddenly I realized something. He was scared. Not of rejection. But of losing what we already had. My heart melted. As I felt exactly the same way. I reached for his hand. His fingers immediately intertwined with mine. The simple touch sent warmth through my entire body. His eyes dropped briefly to our hands. Then back to me. The look he gave me made it impossible to breathe. You're shaking, he said softly. I laughed nervously. So are you. That made him smile. A real smile this time. The kind I had fallen for long before I understood what was happening. We stood there holding each other's gaze. Holding each other's hands. Neither wanting to break the moment. Slowly, Noah lifted his free hand. His fingertips brushed a loose strand of hair behind my ear. The gesture was so gentle it almost hurt. My eyes closed for a second, and when I opened them again, he was looking at me the way people only look at someone they truly care about. The distance between us disappeared. Not quickly. Not recklessly. Slowly. Carefully. As if both of us understood how important this moment was. His forehead rested lightly against mine. I could hear his breathing. Feel the warmth of his skin. The world outside my room seemed to vanish completely. There you are, he whispered. My heart melted. What? A soft smile touched his lips. The girl I've been trying not to fall in love with. A laugh escaped me. Half happiness. Half disbelief. Then I did something I had wanted to do for months. I closed the distance. The kiss was soft. Gentle. A quiet promise rather than a dramatic moment. It wasn't about passion. It was about finally stopping the pretending. Finally admitting what had been there all along. When we pulled apart, neither of us moved very far. Our foreheads still touched. Our hands still intertwined. And for the first time in a very long time, everything felt exactly where it belonged. The kiss lingered in my mind even after it ended. Not because it was intense, but because it felt inevitable. Like something that had been waiting for the right night to finally happen. We stayed close, neither of us stepping back. Noah's hand was still in mine, as if letting go would break something fragile between us. His thumb moved gently across my knuckles. Slow. Absent-minded. Like he was trying to convince himself I was real. I've wanted to do that for a long time, he admitted quietly. My lips parted slightly. So have I. The honesty between us felt terrifying. And freeing at the same time. A soft laugh escaped him. Relieved. Almost disbelieving. You're not going to tell me that was a mistake? He asked. I looked at him properly. At the way his guard had completely fallen. At the way he was still standing there like he couldn't quite believe I hadn't pushed him away. No, I said softly. I've been waiting for it too. The silence that followed wasn't heavy anymore. It was warm. Comfortable in a way that felt new. Noah exhaled slowly, like something inside him had finally settled. Then he stepped back just enough to look at me properly again. His expression shifted slightly, a hint of concern returning. But there's something you should know, he said. My stomach tightened. The tone of his voice changed everything. What is it? He hesitated. For the first time tonight, his confidence cracked again. I didn't come here just because I needed you. My pulse slowed. What do you mean? His jaw tightened. I came here because I had nowhere else to go after what happened. The warmth in the room shifted. Not gone. Just complicated again. What happened, Noah? He ran a hand through his hair, looking away for a moment. Then back at me. I lost my job. The words hit harder than expected. I blinked. What? He nodded. Everything happened so fast. I got into an argument with my manager. They fired me on the spot. My chest tightened immediately. And you didn't tell anyone. He gave a small, tired shake of his head. I didn't want anyone to see me like this. Like what? Like I'm falling apart. My heart sank. Because suddenly everything made sense. The late-night silence. The exhaustion in his eyes. The way he looked at me like I was the only steady thing left in his world. I stepped closer again without thinking. You're not falling apart, I said softly. His eyes lifted to mine. You just hit a rough point. A faint, broken smile crossed his face. You always know what to say. No, I corrected gently. I just know you. That made him stop. Really stop. Like those words hit somewhere deeper than anything else tonight. He stared at me for a long moment. Then he whispered almost helplessly. I think that's the problem. My brow furrowed. What is? You knowing me like this. It makes it harder to pretend I don't feel what I feel. The room went quiet again. But this time it wasn't uncertain. It was honest. I reached up slowly, touching his face. His eyes closed for a second at my touch. Like he'd been waiting for it all night. "I don't want you to pretend anymore," I said. His hand came up over mine, holding it against his cheek. When he opened his eyes again, they were softer than before. Less guarded. More real. "Then don't make me," he whispered. And in that moment, I realized this wasn't just a night that changed everything. It was the beginning of something neither of us could take back. His hand stayed on mine even after the silence settled again. Like neither of us wanted to break the connection. Like letting go would make everything feel less real. The air between us had changed. It wasn't uncertain anymore. It was charged. Alive. Noah's gaze kept dropping to my lips without him realizing it. Or maybe he did realize it. And just didn't care anymore. "You're not making this easier," he murmured. A small smile tugged at my lips. "I'm not trying to." That earned a quiet breath from him. Half laugh, half surrender. He stepped closer again. This time there was no hesitation. No distance left to pretend with. My back lightly hit the edge of the desk behind me, and I didn't move away. Neither did he. His hand slowly came up, resting on either side of me, not trapping, just surrounding. Protecting the space we were both afraid to cross too quickly. His voice dropped lower. "I've thought about this more than I should have." My heartbeat stuttered. "Me too," I admitted. That honesty broke something in him. Or maybe freed it. Because the next moment, his forehead rested gently against mine again. But this time he didn't pull away. Neither did I. "I don't want tonight to end like nothing happened," he whispered. "It won't," I said softly. His fingers slid slightly along my arm, slow and careful, like he was memorizing the feeling of me being this close. "I don't know what this makes us," he admitted. My eyes closed for a second. Maybe it doesn't need a name yet. That seemed to calm him. Just a little. But not enough to erase the tension still burning between us. He exhaled slowly. Then his hand cupped my face again. This time more firmly. More certain. And when he kissed me again, it wasn't hesitant anymore. It wasn't testing. It was real. Deeper. Longer. Like he had finally decided to stop holding back everything he had been carrying for months. My fingers gripped the front of his shirt without thinking. Not pulling him closer out of urgency, but out of certainty. Like I already knew I didn't want space between us. When we finally broke apart, it was only because we had to breathe. But even then, he didn't move away. Neither did I. We stayed like that for a moment. Foreheads resting together, breathing uneven, hearts loud in the quiet room. "I'm scared," I admitted softly. His thumb brushed my cheek immediately. "Of what?" I swallowed. "Of how fast this feels." His expression softened instantly, but he didn't pull away. Instead, he nodded slowly. "Then we go slow," he said. A pause. "But I'm not walking away from you tonight." My chest tightened at that, because something about the way he said it made it sound like a promise. Not a suggestion. A decision. And when he kissed me again, this time softer, slower, it didn't feel like the start of chaos. It felt like the beginning of something neither of us was ready for, but both of us already wanted. The room felt different now. Quieter. Not because the world had changed, but because we had. Noah was still close enough that I could feel his breath when he spoke. But he wasn't rushing anymore. Neither was I. For a while, neither of us said anything. Just stayed there, suspended in whatever this was becoming. Then Noah broke the silence. But his voice was softer now. Almost uncertain. "I keep thinking about what this is doing to me," he admitted. My fingers tightened slightly on the edge of his shirt. "In a good way?" I asked quietly. He let out a short breath. "I don't know anymore." That honesty made my chest ache a little. Because it wasn't confusion about me. It was fear of how deeply he was already falling. His hand moved from my cheek to my hand again, holding it like it was the only steady thing in his life. "I came here tonight thinking I just needed somewhere to stay," he said. A pause. "But I think I needed you more than I realized." My throat tightened. "Noah!" He shook his head slightly. like he was trying to organize thoughts that refused to stay in place. I've known you for a while now, he continued. But tonight, it feels like I'm seeing you differently. My pulse slowed. Different how? His eyes softened. Like I can't imagine not knowing what it feels like to be this close to you. The words landed heavily between us. Real. Unfiltered. Then he hesitated. Like the next thing he was about to say mattered more than everything before it. I think he started. Stopped. Looked down for a second. Then back at me. I think I'm in love with you. The air left my lungs completely. For a moment I forgot how to breathe. Everything around us blurred, the room, the night, even the sound of the city outside. Just those words. I think I'm in love with you. My heart hammered painfully. Because it wasn't dramatic. It wasn't rehearsed. It was quiet, honest, and terrifyingly real. I reached up slowly, touching his face again as if grounding myself. You don't have to say things like that just because of tonight, I whispered. His expression changed immediately. No, he said firmly. No, that's not what this is. He stepped closer again, gently this time. Carefully, like he was afraid I might disappear if he moved too fast. I didn't figure this out tonight, he admitted. I just stopped lying about it tonight. My breath shook. The sincerity in his voice made everything inside me tilt. Because I realized I wasn't the only one who had been holding this in. I wasn't the only one who had been afraid. I looked at him for a long moment, then finally said it back. Softly. I think I might be in love with you too. Something in his expression broke open at that. Relief. Disbelief. Happiness he wasn't even trying to hide anymore. He leaned in again, but stopped just before kissing me. Like he wanted to make sure I was still with him in this moment. Still choosing this. And I was. I closed the distance myself. The kiss this time felt different. Not urgent. Not uncertain. But like a decision we had both finally stopped running from. His arms wrapped around me, pulling me closer. And for the first time tonight, everything felt stable. Right. Like maybe this wasn't a mistake. Like maybe this was the beginning of something real. But then, a loud vibration cut through the silence. My phone. We both froze. I pulled back slightly, breathing uneven, and reached for it on the desk. Unknown number. One new message. I opened it. The color drained from my face instantly. Noah noticed immediately. What is it? He asked. My fingers went cold. I turned the screen toward him. The message read, I don't know who you're with right now, but Noah isn't who you think he is. Silence. Heavy. Instant. Noah's expression changed in a way I had never seen before. Not confusion. Not fear. Something closer to recognition. Like he had been waiting for this moment. Even if he didn't want it to come. And that's when I realized, tonight hadn't just changed everything between us. It had started something I didn't understand yet. Something that might destroy it too. The message stayed on the screen like it didn't belong in the same night as everything we had just shared. My hands felt cold. Noah didn't move. Didn't speak. That silence said more than anything else. Slowly I turned my gaze to him. For the first time tonight, he wasn't the confident Noah I thought I knew. He looked caught. Not guilty. Not surprised. Caught. Tell me that's not true, I whispered. His jaw tightened slightly, and that small reaction broke something inside me. Because he didn't deny it immediately. That second of hesitation was louder than any confession. Noah. My voice shook. Who sent this? He exhaled slowly, running a hand through his hair. I didn't want you dragged into this. That wasn't an answer. It was a confirmation that there was more. My chest tightened. Into what? He looked at me then. Really looked at me. And whatever he saw in my face made him step closer again. But this time not for romance. For urgency. For something I've been trying to fix for months, he said quietly. I shook my head. You should have told me. I tried, he replied. A pause. But every time I got close, I lost people. The weight behind his words hit harder than anything else tonight. I looked down at the phone again. The message still glowing. Still accusing. Still unknown. Then back at him. The same man I kissed. The same man who said he loved me. The same man who was now standing on the edge of a truth I didn't understand. My voice softened. Are you in danger? He didn't answer right away. And that silence was the answer. A siren sound faintly echoed outside the building. Far at first. Then closer. Noah's eyes shifted toward the window. And everything in him changed. I have to go, he said suddenly. My heart dropped. What? No, Noah, you can't just... He stepped forward, taking my hands one last time. This time his grip was firm. Grounding. I didn't want your first real night with me to end like this, he said softly. My throat tightened. Then don't leave, I whispered. For a second he almost stayed. Almost. His forehead rested briefly against mine. One last moment of warmth. One last moment of us. I meant what I said, he whispered. I'm not pretending anymore. My eyes burned. Then fight this, I said. His thumb brushed my hand one last time. I am. Then he let go. And walked out. The door clicked shut. And the silence that followed felt completely different than before. Because this time he wasn't just gone. He was running from something. I stood there for a long time. Still. Breathing uneven. My heart stuck between what just happened and what was clearly coming next. Then my phone lit up again. Unknown number. Second message. If you stay with him, you'll regret it. I looked at the door Noah left through. And for the first time tonight, I wasn't sure if I had just fallen in love or walked straight into a secret that could destroy everything. The door closed, but the story didn't end there. Because some nights don't end with answers. They end with questions that change everything. And now I was left with only one truth. I loved him. And I didn't even know who he really was yet. If you felt the emotion in this story, don't forget to like, thumbs up, comment speech balloon, and subscribe bell because episode 2 is going to reveal everything Noah was hiding. And you won't believe the truth. Backhand index pointing right. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next part.